Welcome to another episode of Classic Dallas Cowboys Talk. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ is Lord. Let's not waste no more time. Let's get right into it. So I'm undergoing a slight renovation where I shoot videos at home. Went through some slight renovations. Got a new background that I put together. I just didn't like the one that was behind me when I was shooting videos at home. By getting rid of the old background, it's a lot more room, less space, and the background takes up less space, I should say. And so when I shoot some videos from home, that new background, y'all will see it. So Shaquille O'Neal talked about it. He said the Orlando Magic were not ready for the Houston Rockets in the 1995 NBA Finals, okay? And he was 100% spot on, okay? So after the Magic defeated the Pacers in Game 7, blew him out 105-81, Brian Shaw said, when we won, we celebrated like we had won the NBA championship, okay? And I remember Anthony Avant scoring. I remember Anthony Avant standing up on the scorer's table, waving his hands to the crowd like, yeah, we going win. And so what's the one thing that we did when we heard our song on the dance floor? What was the one thing we would do? We would either do one or two things. We would either, quote, get buck, or we would, quote, get crunk, okay? So the Magic were celebrating as a team at center court. They put their hands together and they went like, oh, yeah, okay? So after they did that, the Orlando Magic got buck, okay? What y'all know what I'm talking about when we say get buck or get crunk. The Magic started pushing each other around like, yeah, we going. So the Orlando Magic got buck, okay? And it all goes back to something Brian Shaw said. When we won that game, we celebrated like we won the NBA championship. And so, Shaq and Scott went to Atlanta. They went to Miami, and they were sluggish at practice since they had a lot of time off in between the NBA Finals, okay? So they were sluggish at practice. Dennis Scott was also out on the water riding sea-doos, you know. Steve Smith, the Miami Heat Steve Smith, was making fun of that on NBA Open Court when Dennis Scott said he was riding sea-doos on the water. And Steve Smith started to go home like, okay. So Kenny Smith said, usually when you go into a town like Utah, playing a veteran team like Utah, you know everything that's going on in the city about that team, okay? So then Kenny Smith said, we got into her town. We heard that Nick Anderson and Penny Hardaway were at the mall, and they were like, at the mall? What are they doing at the mall when the NBA Finals are about to start? Okay? What are they doing? What are they doing? So it was that they were out having fun off the court before the NBA Finals. They were partying, chasing women, and so not only that, after they defeated the Pacers, um, Brian Shaw, Anthony Avant, and Shaq went to Shaquille O'Neal's recording studio at Shaq's house, and they laid down a track. Okay, they laid down a track chronicling every step of the 94-95 season to the NBA Finals. Okay, and it was said after they beat Houston, they're going to release a track and make some money. I remember Horace Grant saying, nobody really knew what to expect but me. So when I say enjoy it because you don't know when you are ever going to get hit here again, when I say enjoy it, I don't mean stay out till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay? So everybody was saying the party had already started because Houston was looked at as inferior. Okay? I think it's safe to say that the Orlando Magic looked down on the Houston Rockets. Okay? I think it's pretty obvious that the Orlando Magic looked down on the Houston Rockets. And there were some people who were saying, okay, but the Rockets are defending champions. And the Orlando Magic were like, so? And I remember Shaquille O'Neal saying, whoop-de-freaking-do. Whoop-de-freaking-do. Okay? So, of course, we all know Orlando had a 20-point lead, okay? And Ahmad Rashad said, Hakeem Olajuwon told me he had the system he was going to use against Shaq, where he was going to run up and down the court and just run Shaq to death because Shaq can't be in good a shape as Hakeem is. Then Ahmad Rashad said, by the second quarter, Hakeem was huffing and puffing, and he was like, he is not tired. He is not tired. So, it is so often said that the Orlando Magic had a 20-point lead at halftime. That's not true. Okay? Here is the real story, okay? The Orlando Magic led by 20 late in the second quarter. Okay? Then the Houston Rockets went on a bit of a run. The Houston Rockets went on a run to cut the lead down to 11 by half, okay? Orlando led by 20 late in the second quarter. Houston went on a run to cut the lead down to 11 by halftime. Okay? And that's when everything happened. And that's when everything had happened for Houston, okay? And so Nick Anderson gets fouled. Orlando leads by 3, okay? I remember Marv Albert saying, Nick Anderson going to the line for the first time tonight. And I thought about that. I said, Nick Anderson going to the line for the first time tonight? During a pressure-packed situation? Now, I'm wondering. I thought about this. What if Nick Anderson had went to the line a few times in the first quarter, second quarter, and the third quarter? Would he have missed those 4 free throws? Remember what Marv Albert said now. Nick Anderson going to the line for the first time tonight. Okay. And Nick Anderson was a 70% free throw shooter. Okay. Nick Anderson was a 70% free throw shooter. 70% free throw shooters at least hit one. And this is what Bill Walton talked about during Game 2. Rest in peace, Bill Walton. Bill Walton was like, Marv, The odds of Nick Anderson going 0 for 4 in that situation was less than 1%, which means the Magic had a 99% chance to win that game. They did not. And then Marv Albert jokingly said, is that from a professional mathematician? So, yeah, but he didn't. And you recall what happened after he missed that third free throw. He started smiling. And Mario Ellie was like, oh yeah, he's tight. He's tight. Nick Anderson's tight. And I remember Hakeem Olajuwon was looking at Nick Anderson as he got ready to shoot the third free throw. Hakeem Olajuwon was looking directly at Nick Anderson. He was looking directly at Nick Anderson with some kind of look on his face like, man, if you missed this one, which he did. I remember Darrell Armstrong, who was on injured reserve that year for the Orlando Magic. Darrell Armstrong was hollering from the sideline, take your time, dog. Take your time. Okay, that's what Darrell Armstrong was saying. And then I remember Ryan Shaw going up to Nick Anderson after he missed the first two. Ryan Shaw goes up to him and said, hey, let that go. All right? Let that go. We know what you can do. So, yeah. And I remember when Nick Anderson shot the third one, Penny Hardaway sort of turned around like, because he knew Nick Anderson was struggling at the line. Penny Hardaway couldn't even bear to watch. Yeah. So Shaq was right. The Orlando Magic weren't ready for the Houston Rockets. All right. That's it. And that's all. I throw it back with Sean Farrell. Can't wait to display the new look that I have at home. God bless. Peace out.